Okay, so I'll talk through this slowly so that if anybody needs to translate, they can do that. So what I have done is I have talked to the council officers about your shelter request and about your toilet request.
就是我们需要的这个活动场所带棚的，还有厕所，他都跟那市中心的主任说了。
So what has to happen is that these projects have to be put in for what's called a budget bid.
OK， 他说呢，这个必须得放在计划之中，去花多少钱什么呢？得根据计划来。
And as part of that, they look at what are the most important things for residents' needs.
OK， 他说呢，那这个呢也是，那个这一段居住人的需要的一部分的计划。
So they look at the needs of all these requests for right across the city.
OK，
And they have to determine where the money is best spent.
他说呢，那么这个计划呢，不仅仅是根据我们这儿，就是权衡一下整个市里边这个市中心，看哪个更需要，并不是说我们这个申请就得权衡一下哪个地方呢更需要，就给哪个地方。
So we did discuss looking at whether or not toilets could be added to the bus driver facility. And so because that actually sits outside where the park boundary is, adding it to that bus driver facility won't happen.
他们研究了一下，能不能就是在那个公共汽车站那个厕所，把它改变成一个公共的厕所。他们在讨论研究这个问题。
So what they have done is they have already looked at.
他们已经对这块进行了研
This
究。
is a map of the park. This is where the bus drivers'
这个
toilets
是
are
公
over
共
here.
汽车的那个厕所。
But what this orange line does is this shows
这个
where
黄线
the sewer line is,
这
which
个
is
黄
what you
线就是
need.
那个地下水的那个管道。
You need a sewer line to connect for a toilet.
哦，对。他说呢，那么这个是厕所的那个地下管道，整个在公共区。那这个呢，公共汽车的这个厕所现在在这儿，要在这儿呢得整个。
哦，明白
So
明白。
that's where the bus driver's toilet is, and that's outside. That's outside the park area.
所以说还在讨论，就是目前这个计划。
它这块有个井，
对
就在那儿，那儿有个井嘛，就可以在厕所。
不是
So okay, let's just step it back a bit.
哦，
就是目前的状态是这种状态，那么呢还得继续跟着讨论。目前我们的情况就地下的管道的情况是这样。
So that's the underground sewer,
就是地下管
which
道。
you need to be able to connect to if you're putting in toilets. So they know where that is, and that will form the basis of what decision making they can make about future toilets.
他说呢，目前的研究结果呢，就是已经有人呢已经注意到了，现在已经研究了，知道了这个管道在哪里，我们应该在哪连接，就是一句话，已经重视起来，开始研究它，并不是说肯定做，但是就是已经。
So it will be a process that they have to look at. They have to work out where potentially toilets could go, depending on the pipe work, but also there's other considerations with the other residents living around here.
他说呢，就是现在呢，还是刚才说的，就是已经放入计划中去研究，工程师就是研究发现，在哪个地方放厕所比较好啊？那适合于这个管道的走向，就是说已经放在计划上，只能这么说。
Well, the undercover is also, they they would probably have to put it here. Possibly. So that is another thing that they are looking at already. Okay, so there's two things that are separate. You might get one before the other, but I just wanted to reassure you that they have started looking at it for you, and it will be a process. So because we are coming up to an election, no decisions can be made, and all of this would have to go forward for consideration for the budget that's handed down in June.
他说呢，就是有关咱们这个活动场所呢，很有可能是在这面这个地方。但是他那个意思呢，由于现在竞选嘛，人们这个注意力都放在这儿上，所以呢，这个呢还是在进一步的讨论之中。那我听他的意思，并没像厕所这么放入已经研究的计划中，就是说这个厕所啊，好像可能性更大一些，而这个呢还没进入更进一步的研究。
So one thing with toilets, we have to make sure there's access to electricity, because there are certain things that, during dark days in winter, they need lights. There also has to be access to water and access to sewerage. So that's why sometimes it's not always
这个没有得你挑选的，为什么？你说那里它要讲究一个环境的美观，
work through that.
就是他还讲到厕所，因为厕所需要有电的问题、有水的问题，还有一些个各方面安全问题，所以目前呢，这些个根本是等待进一步的研究。
Yeah. So there's no use pointing to places about where you think it should go, because there's so many different things that have to be taken into consideration. So there's the distance from residents' homes, there's not being under trees, there's having access to water, to power, to sewerage, and then we have to also consider the
他说
overland
的呢，
flow.
不仅仅是一个简单的厕所问题，需要有水电，还有离这个邻居很远呐，这个距离啊，各个方面都需要考虑到，不是一个方面的问题。所以说，他说不是说一下子就能马上。
不是，咱说的，咱要求的是早期的活动场地，咱为了不扰民，上次给他有过那个提案，上次有过。我们要求在那个地方，离着居民很远，是吧？不闹他们。你要在这附近。
Hang on, one at a time, one at a time.
He mentioned about our activity spot, the ground.
Yep.
Yes. He said the better
就那个地
set
方
up.，
那个地方很远，
Yeah.
就一个篮球场旁边。
Yeah, we are not at that stage yet of deciding. Okay,
就是我
so
们目前
first
还
thing
没
is
到那一步骤，我们没到那一
first
步
thing we
要考虑厕所，
first thing we have to get funding in the budget,
第一步
and
我
then
们
we
得需
look
要
at
得
the
到钱，
appropriate
得到那个
location.
政府的这个支持这个钱，
才能
我们还没，就是说我们有这个计划去努力，还没有达到说是把钱要来得到批准，就是说一步一步他的意思。
But
实际上呢还是
at the moment,
他去年说的我7月份有个结算年，只能在他每年到6月底这个结算年，
he
他说
said
去年说
last
过。
year, before July, let's say that we will get approved.
他去年说过。
Until now, we haven't got.
well, I don't know who said that to you, because it certainly wasn't me.
他
So
说的不知道谁跟讲的这些，但是一定是不是他没讲的。
那不是他们讲吧？咱要求的是什么？不扰民，而且离他们
不是，他还没到这一步呢。他
So what you
不是
have,
你说的不对。
他上次跟你说了，扰第一句话，周边业主不同意。
OK，who 谁说的？
不是，那上次有人就
but
是
what you have to
说
understand.
人家几家不同意。
Yeah.
第一个，
Can I just
我儿子打
finish?
电话给那个市政府，完了以后。
家里
Can I